colleagues. My name is Richard Trudeau. I'm a UU minister in full fellowship with the UUA and a member in good standing of the UUMA. I went to seminary in my mid-40s. I graduated at age 48 and over 20 years served two churches, and then for several years was a guest preacher in my neighborhood, which is southeastern New England. And then 7 years ago, I committed to the Unitarian Church in Fall River, Massachusetts. They don't have a minister. I'm just a member. They have guest preachers every week. I'm the guest preacher once a month at no charge to them, just a contribution that I make as a member. I'm also, what am I? I'm currently the chair of the governing board, and I'm also the assistant custodian. And I'm making this video to urge you, please, to inform yourself about the issues related to the proposed revision of Article 2 of the UUA Bylaws. A final vote will take place at the General Assembly in June of 2024. We ministers are a big voting bloc, and this General Assembly will be virtual. So the voting, it seems to me, will necessarily be by secret ballot. So you are free to vote your conscience. I don't ask you to believe me on anything. Please look into this yourself. In the little place for remarks below the video screen on YouTube, I will put the web addresses of two websites that have been created by lay people who are concerned about what's happening. They have a lot of good information, I would say. I'll also probably put also the web address of a third organization of which I happen to be the chair, but I'm particularly recommending the first two. The issues, it seems to me, are grave. The current national leadership is in the process of turning the UUA from being a service organization to being a social justice collective. So instead of serving congregations, the UUA will be giving orders to congregations, because as a social justice collective, the national leaders will, of course, set the policy and then direct the UU congregations to carry those policies out. This is a complete inversion of the relationship between the UUA and the congregations in the past. It's a severe threat to congregational independence. It's a severe threat to our freedom of the pulpit. A related issue is the UUA is, and the other national institutions, other national officials are suppressing free speech. They're suppressing free speech. You can see this for yourself if you just reflect on the fact that UU World magazine has not had a letters column now for several years. There's been no pushback allowed. Not even, by the way, in the online version where there aren't such severe limitations of space. We ministers are a big voting bloc, but many of us have not been paying attention. And I understand that. Ministry is demanding, and we know that for decades now, nothing really that happened at General Assembly has had much of an effect on our congregations. And another reason that perhaps you haven't been paying a lot of attention or have been unwilling to look into it is that is that we ministers tend to be conflict averse. And this also is very understandable. The people in our pews do not come to church to get involved in a political fight about the National Association. And we're interested in preserving the unity of our congregation. So we're conflict averse. And some of us are afraid. Some of us are afraid. We've heard that at least a couple of ministers have been disfellowshipped by the MFC for expressing criticism of UUA policies. Ministers have been thrown out of the UUMA for the same reasons. This GA matters, though. I'm begging you to please take the trouble to inform yourself about the issues. And by the way, not only will your vote be a secret ballot, GA this year will be free if you want it to be. It's anyone can attend the business sessions for free. They ask for a small donation, but you need not make it, or you can contribute whatever you feel is appropriate. In this revision of Article 2 contains the 7 principles and the 6 sources. The new revision is a kind of word salad in which you can perceive the fragments, the less definite fragments of many of the 7 principles, but not all. The 6 sources are gone. There's no firm commitment to individual freedom of belief. And something that affects me, and maybe this is not relevant to you, but it concerns me very much that the national leadership of the UUA has been dishonest. There's, they say, oh, we're going to have a discussion. We have this 4-part wellspring program for congregations to think about the Article 2 proposal. Well, wellspring, though they say it's independent of the UUA, is not really, if you look at the personnel, it's just propaganda. It's just propaganda. The UUA has a stranglehold on communication, and no expression of an opposition point of view is allowed. But there's something dishonest about it. At the last GA, when there was a preliminary vote on the same proposed revision of Article 2, or virtually the same proposed revision, the UUA leaders said to the delegates, well, if you vote no, you're voting to cut off the conversation. Vote yes to continue the conversation. Well, there's no continuance of the conversation. If you look into what's happening and what the possibilities for a conversation are or revision are, there are essentially none. It was dishonest of them to say that. And while I'm at it, the UUMA is involved in this too. I find that ministers' meetings, and a lot of people report the same to me, they feel like we're in East Germany, but before the fall of communism. In East Germany, there were 450,000 informants for Stasi, the secret police. And if you were in East Germany in, say, the 80s, and you were in a group of people, unless it was a group of 2 or 3 people whom you knew well, if it was a group of 12 or 20, you didn't know everybody closely, there was a very good chance that there was a Stasi informer in the meeting. And therefore people, of course, censored themselves and were very careful about what they said in gatherings of ministers. And that's going on now in our ministers' gatherings. That's an indication, I think, that something is very wrong. It's an indication that the UUMA, which talks a lot about being a community, actually has policies that have destroyed genuine community, destroyed the possibility of genuine community. My message to you is well, in part, please, I'm not asking you to believe me, to take my word for anything. Please look into this. I'm asking you to look into this. I'm saying this year, what happens at GA matters. Many, many of us are eligible to cast a vote. The vote will be a secret ballot, though. We can really vote our conscience, and I urge you to look into this and to do exactly that. And I thank you for watching.